Now, the 10-minute drill.
This is a big one.
On 1010XL.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Hit it.
Sports Concepts and Rationalizations coming your way, 743. Good morning, Jacksonville. This is the drill. And at the end of the 10-minute drill, we will hand out a lovely prize pack that includes what today, Beef?
They're getting hooked up, Dan. One lucky Guggen at the end of the segment will be going to Sonny's Barbecue with lunch for two on us. And they'll park at usapark.net for free for their next trip away from Jack's.
I like it. I like it a lot. Lots of things happening in the sports world last night and throughout. Where would you like to start, Jeffrey?
Well, we can start at a lot of places. I'd like to start with the Jags, with Doug Marrone, just kind of re-emphasizing some stuff yesterday out at the owners' meetings. And I was thinking about this morning, Hick. The Jags are in a weird position. It's not very often you don't have a pretty good idea what your team's going to be. Now, you can be mistaken, but you have a pretty good idea what to expect. Last year, we expected a lot. They were coming off of that trip to the AFC Championship game. The year before, we expected nothing because they stunk. I don't know what this Jaguars team is, and in a way it makes them fascinating. They are kind of like a Forrest Gump box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get, and there's not an overriding optimism or pessimism to this year's team. It may be the most unknown, the most uncertain direction in the history of the franchise going into a year.
Yeah, they could be good, and it could fall apart real easily. So that remains to be seen. We still have a draft to go, so a lot of intrigue. And yesterday, for the first time, I heard a lot of people tell me that the Giants are not going to take Dwayne Haskins. That they are more intrigued with the Duke kid who's having his pro day today, and Will Grier. Adam Schefter, is that right? Schefter?
Yes, it is.
Scripter?
Said the names that he keeps hearing are Daniel Jones and Will Grier, and not Dwayne Haskins. I would be very surprised if the Giants didn't take Dwayne Haskins, but this was the first time, and if you start looking at mock drafts of late, there seems to be less of a buzz about Dwayne Haskins to the Giants.
Adam Schefter also said the Jags were going to trade Jalen Ramsey, so Adam Schefter can say anything he wants until it happens. I'll go up here to the sip and go and ask the dude behind the counter what he thinks, and I'll get as accurate a prediction as Adam Schefter's given this year.
Cliff Kingsbury's also going to allow kids, players, cell phone breaks after 20 minutes in a meeting.
Well, it's got to be really,
get their
really
social media fix.
Yeah, it's got to be demanding to sit in a conference room for 20 minutes for these kids. I mean, holy cow! Well, what in the hell? That can't end well, by the way. That's not exactly the discipline and stick to it as you're working towards to finish off an NFL game. I can't believe I can't think that will be a good idea. Mm-hmm. I mean, who disrupts their game planning, their workday, to give the kids a phone break like you're on a 12-hour car trip and you're letting the 6-year-olds get their 30 minutes in? Holy manoli.
I like that.
That's an all-timer there, buddy. That's an all-timer.
It's also a report that the Giants are exploring a trade for Josh Rosen.
I heard Chris Kingsbury yesterday lie right through his teeth, and Rosen fits this real good. I'm not sure what we're going to do at number one. Okay, yeah. Tell that to your guys on the phone. Let's see what they have to say for you. Can you explain to me how Florida's beaten Florida State 10 straight times in baseball? I can get it in some of these past years. Florida's been in the national title series, and the Noles have, not been at their best. But Florida's not even that good this year, and they've tacked on another couple or three.
Well, it is inexplainable because Florida State's a good program, and their midweek games, and how important are they? But right now they have a run going that is, to me, sort of gotten into FSU's head. I've watched them lose high-scoring games and 1-0 games, and I think it was 1-0 last year at the baseball grounds. Last night it was 0-0 through, I think, 5 in the 5th. The Gators scratched out a run, and then FSU took the lead, and you think, okay, here they go. They're finally going to break the streak, and then Florida responds with 3 in the 7th, and they go on to win 4-2. It's 10 in a row. It's 15 of 16. It's a very odd streak that is going on right now, and it's Mike Martin's last go-round. He'll have one more shot at trying to beat the Gators, and it will determine whether he's 500 or plus 500 or sub 500 all time against Florida. 76 and 76 all time against
kind of like the Duke North Carolina basketball rivalry.
Yeah, against the
same amount of points through
against the Gators. Games. So we shall see. Lots of things happened in the NBA last night. Kyrie Irving didn't play. The Celtics won. The Clippers are the 5th seed and are 10-1 in March. The Magic have moved into the 8th spot.
The MVP favorites battled.
MVP favorite.
Trae Young made more history.
What stood out closest to you?
Well, closest to me, I was the only person in America, Dan, that got up at 3:30 this morning and watched the Hawks-Pelicans replay. So that stood out to me. Literally the only person in the world who watched the Hawks replay.
Mm-hmm.
And in all seriousness, Trae Young, who has just been lights out, especially since the All-Star break, had his 6th game as a rookie last night with 30 points and 10 assists, at least 30 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
That puts him – that's the second best by a rookie ever behind Oscar Robertson, and it broke a tie with a couple of guys you've heard of. These guys both did it 5 times as rookie, 30 points, 10 assists. Those guys were Michael Jordan and Steph Curry. So anybody who's still stuck in this mindset that the Mavs ripped off the Hawks are insane. And the Hawks are going to be better than the Mavs moving forward. Doncic and Young is always going to be a coin flip. They're different players, but the Hawks are going to be good, man. I'm super excited with what they're doing. The most intriguing of all that, no one cares about the Magic. We live in Jacksonville. The Magic have been around 30 years. We just can't catch any Magic fever. I mean, they've tried to bring the training camp here. There's nothing that can make people interested in the Magic in Jacksonville, Florida. So that didn't do much for me. I'd like to talk more about Antetokounmpo and Harden later. So let's stick to Kyrie Irving. The Celtics, don't forget, ran all the way to the conference finals and went 7 games with the Cleveland Cavaliers without Kyrie Irving last year. There's your answer. He is a detriment to the Celtics for whatever reason. And he's a fantastic player, a decent actor, but he's not helping Boston. They have had their best success without Kyrie Irving, and they've played better, a better winning percentage, more points per game, and better efficiency when Kyrie's not played this year. And, I mean, does Kyrie Irving ever – does this dominate who Kyrie Irving ever, is? Do we get to that point where he just becomes journeyman?
I don't think he becomes a journeyman, but I think he's leaving Boston.
Is he going to be? Oh, so are you comfortable making Kyrie? Do you still want Kyrie Irving in New York? You would make him your leader, your brand? I wouldn't.
Kyrie, KD, and Zion.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
I'll trot those 3 out and see what happens.
Yeah, I'd rather have John Morant than Kyrie Irving.
Ja!
I would. Like moving forward, I'd rather have the unknown of John Morant than what I know about Kyrie. He's a disaster. So, there's that. The Florida basketball team persevered to a berth this year. I mean, they grinded one to even get into the NCAA tournament. Amazingly, they finished this season as far along as last year's Gator team, the second round of the tournament. But this year's team was much different. And now, as of today, they got 7 scholarship basketball players, Dan. I mean, they're losing 3 seniors. Keith Stone announced yesterday he'll be a graduate transfer. Mike Okoro is leaving. That's pretty obvious. And both these guys clearly watch what Florida did this year. And Stone says, that Keontae Johnson, I'll never be as good as him. And Okoro said, Nembhard and Locke are going to leave me on this bench for the next 2 years. Seems more than ever, Hick, if you're not getting playing time, you're leaving. I don't care what the sport is, football or basketball.
Sport. Team, school, doesn't matter. But, yeah, listen, I don't blame either kid. Florida even put out a release, hey, thanks to those guys, and wish them well.
Which also tells you that they were, okay.
Yeah, we got some plans. So, it opens up the door to reshape your roster even more. You got 3 freshmen who played so very well for Florida. You got 3 freshmen coming in, and now you can go add a couple post guys if you can find them, maybe a grad transfer or someone along those lines to
probably will be a portal year.
Help your team as you now imply the portal into the world of college basketball.
Yeah, well, they've used. Well, I don't know if it's come through the portal, but they've used it. Who was the grad transfer the year before Three Gore? They did it 2 years in a row.
Canyon Barry.
That's who it was, Canyon Barry. I was trying to remember who that guy was, and then this year they did not do it. And, by the way, that McDonald's game that features 2 Gator players, future Gators, is tonight at 7 o'clock. I know it's your turn, but I've got one last one I want to get in before we go to break. This is major news on the NASCAR front. This is a dramatic shift. Taking the Firecracker 400 off the schedule is, I know it's not called that anymore.
It's not off the schedule.
It is off the schedule. Sure it is.
What do you mean?
It's in late August.
Oh.
I mean, the NASCAR schedule has been completely turned over.
Yes.
As of yesterday.
But it's not off the schedule. They're still running it.
The Firecracker 400, there is a second Daytona race, which until this year has always been on 4th of July or around it.
Right.
And that's gone.
Yeah.
They're putting that in Indy, which is interesting for Indy because they get both summer holidays now. The Memorial Day is the 500, and the 4th of July time of year will be the NASCAR race. But did they go far enough? I know we have argued before or lobbied before when we took casual interest in NASCAR to end the championship chase at Daytona. That completely bookend the season. They're also taking the championship race away from Homestead. That's going to Phoenix. Does any of this do anything for you?
See, I don't know enough about the story to comment intelligently. I'll be honest. I mean, in this respect, I think what I've read is they're trying to listen to the fans, but I don't know if they, I don't really know. I give them credit because they keep trying and they keep trying and they keep trying. I will say this, for us here in Jacksonville, we won't do as much. We may not even go to that race now.
Right, because it's football season.
August 29th?
I don't like the Daytona move. I like Daytona if you make it the last race of the season, the championship race. That would have made more sense to me.
If it's under the lights, I've always liked it under the lights. I went to the Firecracker 400 when it was the Firecracker 400 in the middle of the day, and they'd pull those
on the 4th of July, no matter what.
They'd pull those bastages out of the cars, and they'd just be dripping. They did, just throwing ice water buckets on them. And back in the day, it was unbelievable. They had talked about midweek racing, but they didn't do anything of that nature.
One thing they did do, this is also way out there, is there's going to be a doubleheader weekend in Pocono. The Cup race, they're going to have a Cup race on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Yeah, it's kind of
So they're trying some different things.
Well, the schedule's too long, and they want to create some.
They're kind of following golf, aren't they?
Create some open weeks where the guys don't have to go from week because it's become too long, and the drivers want to have a little.
They really
time
do go
off.
from early Februay till November.
Yes.
It is a real.
They get Easter and Mother's Day off, I think, and that's it.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. So we'll see. Listen, again, I give them credit for trying. You know what I mean? They sense,
they're not afraid to tinker, whether it's rules or schedules or anything else. But I don't know if you can tinker your way into a more winning formula. Is this going to lead to more people watching NASCAR? I don't believe that.
I doubt it.
Yeah,
I doubt it.
All
but
right.
It is what it is, and we'll see how it.
All right,
works out.
it
starts next year too. They don't wait. It's
That's
not
another
like
good thing.
beginning in 2022 or whatever. Let's go caller number 6, Beef at 641-1010. What are they taking home?
Caller is going to get lunch for 2 from Sonny's Barbecue and airport parking from our friends at USAPark.net.